All right. Well, welcome to the after field trip, how to edit your Star Trail tutorial. This is your opportunity to watch my workflow and to ask questions. So it's designed to be interactive, get your questions answered. I'm going to show you exactly what I do. Hopefully we'll do it in the next hour and a bit, but feel free to ask questions.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen. Share screen, share the desktop. Okay. You should see my Lightroom. I'm just closing things down. Quit. Okay, so first thing you got to do is save your photos. So I save my photos in a folder called Photos, original, but I can always find them. I have my photos after years of shooting. These are the 6 categories that I have. So I shoot Redlands. All of my iPhone photos go here. I keep a folder for inspiration that I keep, photos that I want to duplicate or ideas that I want to copy, software things go in there, manuals, etc. Family photos go in here. My astrophotography is here and everything else. So we were shooting star trails. Where do you think this went?
Astrophotography.
Astrophotography, bingo. All right, I have those broken out by year. So 2024, here we go. And everything's broken out by year first, month second. And so I'm able to find them very, very quickly. And I name exactly what we were doing. So where I was and what I was shooting. So this was
You,
my Joshua Tree Aurora chase. This was my Joshua Tree Ryan Ranch ruins. And this was the trip that I went just last week or last weekend. So here they are, Star Trails.
and you do that with all the other folders, everything else too, year and month.
Every single folder has, let's say, Redlands, for example, 2024. I was shooting Mark Shaw meet and greet. There we go, right there. So everything's super easy to find. It's
Gotcha.
not about storage, it's about retrieval. So if you can't find your photos, you got troubles from square one.
Yes.
So the big spare starter, I put all of my raws in here. Every single folder, and you'll see when we do the exports, has a best folder. And that way I know where, okay, the Joshua Tree Aurora trace, here's my best folders. So these are all the files that I exported that are the best. So if I'm ever trying to figure out, oh, I was trying to shoot the Equinox baseline, where are my best folders? Oh, there they are. That was it's my best. I don't have to wonder where the files are. If I can find the folder, I can find my exports. So saving your folders is important. So I then bring them into Lightroom, and I've already done that here. And so first thing I did was, as I was scrolling through, was I had to find my my foreground. And this was my foreground issue, my foreground image. It was shot during blue hour, ISO 800. I was shooting at 24 millimeter, f16 for 30 seconds. So the reason I chose f16 was because I would get these beautiful little these starbursts. That's a nice way to get some whimsy, add some whimsy to your photos and add some interest. And again, emphasize that Thomas Kincaid type look. Now, I also had my photo here. It was, you can see it's kind of crooked. I didn't, Rick, I didn't put my level, I didn't put my level on. So with that, I'm not going to correct it now because all of my star trails and masking are also crooked. So I'll fix it later, but notice that is corrected. And I've gone through and done just some very basic adjustments. In fact, I'm going to make a duplicate copy of this so I have it. So I'm going to make a virtual copy. So I have it with the edits and I'm going to reset. So this is what my original, what my image looked originally. It's kind of dark. So I needed to definitely lighten it up. But that's, I don't care about the sky because this is only about the foreground. So I'm going to bring in the highlights, and then you can see that brought in some of the color there. I have some detail in the background, but the water's way too bright now. So I can go ahead and give a linear gradation on that. So it's going to be darker on the bottom, lighter on the top. Go ahead and bring down the exposure on that. Bring in the highlights a little bit more. And again, the highlights are just going to change some of the lighter white features. There's a little bit of noise here in the background area. So I'm going to come down to the manual noise reduction. I don't think there's enough noise in here to do a full-on denoise. I could if I chose to, but I think I'm fine with what I have. And I'm happy with, I'm going to bring up some of the shadows over here. All right, that's good. But yeah, I definitely have some noise up in this area. So I'm going to use a brush and paint some of those shadows back in over in this area. Just going to manually drop the bring the exposure down on that, and bring the shadows back, darken that up. I don't need the background to be as light over there. So just the top of the mountains, or the top of the trees. Just going to darken those up a little bit because we're going to mask in the background later. All right. So I have my foreground image, and I can tweak it later on, but this is a good starting point. I don't think I need to change the color balance. I don't want to go too yellow. Don't want to go too blue. Where it was at was just fine. I can add a little bit of pink just to bring out some of the areas here on the houses. But you can see the wide angle lens, how it kind of distorted. So we're going to need to fix that once they're straightened. We're going to need, because people recognize that walls should be straight up and down. So we're going to want to make sure that we see that. Who just joined us a couple minutes ago? Feel free to ask questions as they come up. All right, so that was my foreground. And you can see the sky, we can see this, we can start seeing the stars in there, but the sky is, of course, way too bright, but we don't care about that. So I was doing some test exposures, making sure that my intervalometer worked. And then I was, just making sure that, just mechanically that everything was working. Oh, another thing that you make sure that you do in Lightroom is turn off profile correction. You do not want your profile correction on at this point. You will eventually. Here's what's going to happen. If you turn it on and do you see this this funny moire pattern here in your star trails, in the star trail? Can anybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird pattern, and that's actually the profile correction layered on top of each other, and it just really makes for a wonky picture, and there's no way to take it out. So the way that you fix it is you do all your star stacking first, then you apply profile correction at the end. So you take it out. So here is my star trails. This is the first one that I'm going. And, you can see that it's pretty dark as well from what you were seeing. I've got nice round stars here. I turned off profile correction here. Brought up the exposure just a bit. So again, it was low. I brought that exposure up. Again, I don't want it too bright, but I brought it up a little bit. And then I applied that same setting all the way across. So you just shift, select everything, and hit sync. That's going to ask you, what do you want to sync? And I just want to sync everything. That was the exposure, and the profile correction was the only two edits that I made. I can go ahead, hit sync, and it's going to apply that across all of these images, which I've already done. Then I'm going to export all of those images, which export, and they're going to go in my best folder. I could make it into a JPEG folder. I'm going to move all of them into a JPEG folder anyway, but for right now, I always have them put into a best folder. It's in the same folder as my original, as I showed you before. It's called best. And once they open, once the export's put in there, I'm going to have it after the export, I'm going to show in the Finder. So it's going to open up that folder for me. So I put them in there. They're in the best. And then I put those into a folder called Star Trail JPEG. It doesn't matter what the folder is. They're just all the JPEGs. So here's the export. 1, 2, 3, and so on. So they're there. So I use a program called StarStax. Have an astrophotography, StarStax. StarStax. It's a free program. You can find it online, and it has one purpose, and that is to create star trails. And so all I'm doing is selecting all those JPEGs, and I drop them in there. There they are. I have a couple of different modes. Gap filling is the one that you want to use. Gap filling right in here. They have a comet mode, which is kind of fun, but just right now, just start for gap filling. You can play with that on your own. And once those are in there, you just tell it to start processing. This is the least helpful icon for start processing, but that's what it is. You just click that. And it's going to go one by one and start. You could see the item, the bar on the left moving down, and it's one by one. And look, you can start seeing in the picture that the stars are starting to make a pattern. And so this is just hurry up and wait. I mean, this is just, it's going to take as long as it does. The faster your computer, the faster it goes. So any questions while this is processing?
I had a question. On your foreground shot, I noticed you didn't use you didn't try to make it clear. I forget what that option's called. To make it the image more in focus. I'm forgetting the what's it called?
Clarity?
Is it not
There's clarity.
not clarity? I thought there was one that makes it more in focus. Sharpen maybe. Sharpen, is that it?
Like a dynamic contrast, maybe?
No.
got texture that I can use.
Let me here, I'll find mine. It is
Add a little bit of dehaze.
oh,
Like
under detail. Do you ever go to sharpening under detail? And I have Lightroom Cloud. I don't know if it's different than what you have.
yeah. Classic is what you'll
There's
see
the-
most
There's
professionals
detail
use.
right there.
Yeah, maybe it's detail and then sharpening is how it is with cloud. Not
Oh,
not
here's
because I don't think your
sharpening here.
pictures.
I don't need to, because it's
Yeah,
sharp
it's
enough.
not like I think your picture's not in focus. I was just wondering if that was something to do.
You can, this is where you edit to taste.
Yeah.
You know, this
And
is
it's
at 200%. So if I drop
Yeah.
this down to 100%, nobody's looking at, the details on that. And again, we're not done, we're not done. It's just, this is a great place to start. You'll see as we move on. So let's check back up. Ooh, look what we've got over here. It just finished. So that took about 2 minutes for it to do the star trails. And I can look here and look at what we got here. We got star trails. And that was for 100 images. So what do we say? 90 was for 45 minutes if we did 2 apiece. So this is more than, so this is about, what do you say, an hour, a little more than 45 minutes worth. And you've got, definitely, you can clearly see that we have star trails, which is cool. But we also have airplane trails. This is where the fun part gets in. So I'm just going to save that. Save it to the desktop is fine. So the image is saved. So now it's on my desktop. There it is. It is fine, fine, fine. Now I'm not using the foreground here. You can see it's blown out, right? I'm going to use the foreground later on, the foreground that we already picked here. But now we got to clean up. So you've got 2 options. You clean up the well, you got 3 options. 1, you can leave the star trails in. That's an option. So I'm going to open this up with Photoshop. So those are the airplane trails. And so I'm going to use the spot heal brush or the remove tool, probably the remove tool here. That's the new AI one. And I'm going to set a small brush and I'm going to set a point here, hold the shift key down and set a spot. And then I can check the box and it made it disappear. Set it up. And I can do that all the way through. And I'm going, this is one way to go about cleaning up your trails, which is doing it after. Well, you saw right here, it accidentally deleted some of the star trail. And you have to determine if with your own experience, is this acceptable or not? If it's going to remove some of the star trails. Mostly it gets it just fine. Mostly it gets it just fine. So I'm going to show you another way here in just a minute, but you'll get the idea of it is, you can clean them up. This is the new, since they have new tools, new AI tools, this is often how I'll go ahead and clean it. You also have hot pixels. Who had mosquitoes flying around or bugs? Some of those bugs are going to be flying around. Those are going to be some of the things that are going to show. And this all depends on how picky you are in terms of your star trails. How clean do you really want them to be? Some people like showing the airplanes in there. They think that adds some dynamic to it, which I'm not going to say that is not. But I'm just, just clicking around, dot, 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 and then I can every once in a while see how I'm doing. Clean those up. So while I'm clicking, what questions do you have? Just clicking around. So every once in a while, you might get a, either a satellite or an actual meteor, which is kind of fun. But then you have to go back and find it in your star trail.
So way easier to clean up after you combine the photos. It would take forever to try and do it through the other single photos, right?
It's actually this is less time consuming, but not as good. Your results
Gotcha.
are going to are not as good. So this all
So
depends on how much effort and work you want to put into this.
so it depends on how much you like that photo, obviously.
Exactly.
If you want
Absolutely.
to,
Right?
if it's the winner photo, then go through each photo and clean them up and then
Absolutely.
combine
You
them.
got that right. That is exactly it. So in this case here, this is a fine photo. And so I'm going to put in a fine effort. It's not going to be 100% effort. All right, boom, boom, boom. You can see I'm just clicking on the dots. And it just is not very exciting, but you're just cleaning it up. And some of these are hot pixels on, each sensor is not perfect. And so when you're doing long exposures like that, some of these are bugs flying around. Some of these are satellites. Some of these are usually the worst offenders are the ones closest to the horizon because they're far away. You can't see them and they're moving. They just are persistent. It's just very frustrating because there's so many of them. All right, cleaning up. At some point, I'm going to say this is good enough. You get the idea. And we'll look at an alternative method when we're all done here at the very end if you're interested in sticking around. But I'm just cleaning these up, cleaning them up, cleaning them up. Again, this is relatively new, since AI. So I've only done this method for a couple of months now. It used to be you had to, back in the olden days, 6 months ago, there was only one method of fixing these things. And so I'm waiting for somebody to develop the AI for star trails. Actually, you think I'm joking, I'm not, because it's kind of a pain in the butt. All right, we're gonna call that good here. And I'm gonna save that. So again, this is a JPEG. Done there. All right. Here's my foreground. I'm happy with my foreground. I'm going to add a little more darkness to the shadow over here. I don't want that coming up. All right. So did somebody have a suggestion on you want to see more of the edit or you wanted to see something different? So I'll clean this up when I bring it into edit in Photoshop.
So you see that light glare you got right in the center
Yep.
where backwards zooms in?
Yep, we're gonna fix that.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those on that corner too. Is there a way to fix that when you're shooting?
Nope. No, because
No?
the light's going right in your camera. It's bouncing around.
Yeah, I got some pretty prominent ones, but I guess I could just paint them out.
So go over here. This is the beauty about the AI remove tool. I'm gonna make it a little bit larger.
Man, voila.
Done. Done. Let's see. This over here, I think that this is distracting. So I'm going to take it out. It's just not smooth. So that's smooth. Same thing, this over here, part of the water. This isn't adding anything. Just painting it over. All right, we're good there. Okay, now this is, again, this is the beauty of AI. Masking used to be so difficult. Here we're just gonna do sky replacement. So where do you find it? I don't know. I just go up here to help and type in sky replacement. Sky, there we go, sky replacement. Click on that. And it's gonna ask me which sky I want to use. So I can go down here to my plus. So I can actually pick any sky here. So it's picking skies, right? So I can use my own sky. So I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to pick that star image that we just did, that we were just working on. What was the name of it? 151M3. This one. So that's just loaded that up. There it is. I'm okay. And look at the job that it did. Oop. Perfectly blended. I mean, this is unbelievable. Rick, can you believe this?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing what it does now.
I mean, aye. This used to take hours to mask out trees of unusual shape. It even got in between the trees. This is crazy amazing. So, all right. So that used to be, I mean, literally that used to take hours trying to mask each tree. It's, done. And now that these are together, I can see what I'm going to do with it. All right. We talked about having to tilt it and to tweak it. So right now I have a background layer and a foreground layer that has all these adjustments to it. So I'm going to actually take all of those and I'm going to turn it into one layer, and I'm doing Shift Command Option E. And so it now made a new layer on top. And the only thing that layer contains, it's both of those images combined. So there's nothing there. It just smashed those layers right on top of each other. So it's one image. So I'm not working with the foreground separate than the background. That makes sense? So I'm going to straighten this out. All right, so that's good there. But even though I straighten this out, see how this house is tilted to the left? And this over here, this is kind of good. It kind of gets warpy on the edges. Warpy is the term. So I'm going to do select all. I'm going to come over here to transform and I'm going to distort. And what that lets you do is pull on the edges on top. And I just need to pull this to the right. And I'm going to get closer here to look. All right, I straightened this side up. This now is perpendicular. But these sides over here now tilted to the right. So I'm going to need to overcompensate. Get back in there. So I'm going to need to now do the same thing for transform, distort. I'm going to pull this a little bit more to the right, and then I'm going to pull this side over to the left. And that should give me straight on both sides. Straight and straight. Good. So questions on why I did that? You saw they were kind of tilty?
Yeah,
Good there.
that made sense.
Yep. So we've got a, and that's just sheer lens distortion, right? The wider you go, the more. Well, it looks like I did get some sort of satellite or something in here, but I'm going to go ahead and take it out because it's right along the line of the satellite of the star trail, so it's going to be out of the way anyway. It added that, so I got to pull that back out. Yeah, these tools aren't perfect, but they're really darn good. While I'm in here, just again, just cleaning up some of the spots. And the amount of time that you spend on this will depend on the amount of, how good you think this image is. One time I did an all-night star trail, and it took 8 hours to shoot it, but it took 12 hours to take out all of these airplane trails. There was just so many, because you were literally going image by image, one by one, and finding and cleaning those up, and it just takes a while. I've watched lots of videos, and there is no super secret way yet. Again, I am waiting for somebody to develop the Star Trail AI that will pull these things out, that will recognize satellites and somehow, magically make them disappear. And I think that's just a matter of time. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it within the year. I'll be first person to buy it because I hate this part. All right, it's cleaning them up. While I'm here, again, is anybody gonna, will anybody who's looking at this on their phone care? The answer is no. Now, Rick, if you were trying to sell it at the gallery, they
Yeah.
might, right? This
Yeah.
is, what is your audience? How picky is your audience? What quality do they expect? Nobody knows how long this took you to take or how long it takes you to edit. They don't know and they don't care. Your friends will be just as impressed if you left the images in as if you took them out. Especially if this is your first star trail, first attempt. There's no reason to bend over backwards to satisfy the pixel peepers. Again, it's all on Instagram or Facebook anyway, so who cares? All right, we've got our image there. I'm happy with it, and I'm going to close it. Going to save it. Now it's going to remember we opened up the image from Lightroom, so it's going to put it back into Lightroom. So I save my items. If I would like it, I save it with a 3. That's why I can easily narrow down all of my photos. These are ones that I did before, so I'm just going to demote them. Those are ones demoted. This is the one that I'm working on. So I can easily find, rather than having to scroll, where did I find my item? I can just narrow down to 3. Ah, there it is. And so here I can do any final adjustments that I want. I can, this is, if I wanted to do a brush, I think I'm good on the brush side. The, exposure, I don't want to bring it up. I'm good there. I've got more highlights I can tweak with. I want to increase, I can increase the saturation a little bit. That's going to bring out some of the Thomas Kincaidiness of that. And so I would say, voila, there we go. So that was about a half hour, and I'm looking here now, I can see some of these pink ones that kind of are grabbing my eye. I can go clean those up now. if I choose, or I can export it and I'm good to go. So that's pretty amazing for turning all of those into a very usable image. This I can post this and share this, and people will ooh and ah and comment and be impressed. So questions on this one?
No, it makes sense.
Okay. So I said I would look at another way of creating the star trails. And so I started, let's see, I started with ones. The star trails, when I started kicking those in, we'll just do these. I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll just do a couple of, so I could go in and edit these in, open as layers in Photoshop. All right, so I'll open those as layers in Photoshop. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up Photoshop. And did I pick the right ones? These look dark to me. I don't think these have been edited yet. I may have picked the wrong ones. I haven't figured out how to stop. Once you start editing and as layers in Photoshop, I haven't figured out a way to stop yet. Let me close those. Don't save. Go back over here. Yeah. Yes, these are them. Just looking of where I started editing. Here we go, right here. All right, I'm going to open up these as layers in Photoshop. And one by one, it's going to pop them into the same photo in the same photo folder. And what we're going to do is change the blend mode from normal, which normal hides the one underneath. We're going to change the blend mode to lighten. And that's pretty much all that StarStax is doing. It puts them into layers. So I'm going to select all of those photos and I'm going to change it from normal here on the bottom right. This is the blend mode to lighten. And you can see here that that's what it's doing. It just turned them into the star trails. So I could then go one by one if I wanted to, and then edit out, make sure that I'm here. Open, break this up. Two ways to go about it. I could get a black brush and I can just do that to it. That is one way to get rid of that. The other way is to use the AI remove tool. And then I go to the next one. And since it's an airplane, it's going, one way to the next. So it's going to go, in this case, it's going left to right. I can see that. So I can take that out. See, it's here on the bottom. Gonna remove that. Then I can go to the next one. It's going over here. Now the challenge with this is at some point, I'm zoomed in here on the bottom. Come on, go away. Hide. There's a menu, a zoom menu that I need to hide. That's the zoom menu is in my way. I can't pick what I need to pick. The checkbox. Where's hide? Hide video panel. Maybe it'll go away. Anyway, I need to check that box. So I can go through and pick all of these things, and then something's going to show up on the right-hand side. And then I have to go through that whole process all over again and to find the thing that I'm looking for. And that's one of the bummers about going layer by layer. It's just a super time-consuming process. And if you can imagine, this is just 10. Imagine having to do 100. Like, oh, that just gets old in a hurry. So here's the pink, this dot here, trying to find that is on this layer here. So I could just go in here and paint over that. And now that one is gone. And I would get these, you can get them very, very clean. So here's where's this pink layer? So there it is on that one. So that's a bug, bug flying around of some sort. So that's, I got rid of that one. Ugh, there's all these over here that are coming through. And so I'd have to then find out which layer. And this is where you just go up layer by layer, find out where they are, and pull them out. So I don't know if you can tell from the tone of my voice, I'm not thrilled with this part of it. But if you're going to make your star trails, super excellent, this is the only way to do it. But it is very time consuming. So get yourself a nice beverage and put on some music and just plan on editing out the airplane trails. What I have found over the years is that if you shoot after 11:30 at night, there's a whole lot less airplanes that fly around. And so even though I will start a airplane or start my star trails, at 9 o'clock or whenever it gets dark, oftentimes I'll throw away my first hour or so just because there's just so darn much to fix. So you would do that. Make sure that you're editing the right layer. And then you could save this. So if, for example, if you saved 20 layers at a time and then, did this, for each layer, in batches of 20, and then you would go back and then blend all of those layers together. So you can see this could, the file sizes all of a sudden balloon, exponentially pretty quick. So if you're working with star trails, you've got to have the storage capacity to work with them as well. I've tried to put them all as one layer, and you end up using the big file storage. Most Photoshop documents are PSDs, but if you go too big, there's another one that it uses. So here, I don't know where this layer is. So I just, it's just very tedious. Got to go one back, finding out, oh, there it is. It's on that layer. All right, so I've got those, And if you're doing this method, you definitely want to save. You would want to write down. All right, I started with, this one over here, 130, and I went to, 13 whatever, and then 130 to 140, and then I'm going from 1401 to 1501, and so you're marking those down and are very, very clear on what you have and what you haven't edited, and then you get all those and match those together. But it just takes forever, but you can get some really clean, as you can see here, this is a very clean result from what we saw before. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Going back to our final over here. I think that's fine. Before I post, I'm gonna go back and clean up some of these little bug flying things. Either they're bugs or they're satellites in the upper left-hand corner that I'm not seeing in, that I either did a better job cleaning them up. They're in the left-hand corner here, so I'm gonna go clean those up, and then I will post mine and be done with it. This, there was some white light over here, so I'm gonna paint this little area here and warm it up a bit. Because the white light that they had, it was a pretty bright white light, if you recall. So I'm gonna warm that up a little bit and make that match some of the other area. Bring the exposure down. There we go. That just takes the emphasis back to the houses. That's pretty much all I got for you.
Okay, appreciate it.
So
Yeah, very
we're
nice.
gonna try yours. Which method are you going to use? Star stacks or layering?
I'll probably try
Stacks.
star tracks first.
Yep. That's definitely easier. And if you try comet mode, going back to the methods, comet mode is a fun
Okay.
alternative. It's going to we can spend just a minute here, let it run through its paces, but it's going to give a little bit more personality to the trails.
Does it stretch them out or something?
Yeah, it makes them thinner on the back and then thicker. And you can, over here on the right, you can see you can do short trails or long trails.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Kind of gives it literally a comic kind of look.
Exactly. Right. And that's a fun way to mix it up. But you can see we only did 40 minutes in this, we didn't do hours and hours and hours, but we still got a full, you can definitely see the
A
earth
full
spinning.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the full circle, even with just 45 minutes. So imagine doing it for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You can really make a dent in how these look.
Any tricks to reduce noise on your foreground shots? Take it earlier in the evening, maybe?
You can do that. I didn't run this through the AI.
Like no noise stuff and
The
everything.
the denoise,
Denoise.
that stuff over there. You can run. Well, let's just see. Run this over here while the other one's running in the background. See what we get. Oh yeah, you can definitely see there's noise in there. Before, after. Shoot, maybe I should have run it.
And you're not screen sharing right now.
Oh. Well, neener. Mine looks great.
I was just looking at you.
Share.
I was like, you didn't get clearer. What happened?
Yeah, share. Where's share? Share's great. Back over here. All right, so this is I'm gonna start back over. So this is the original foreground. So
Mhm.
here's the denoise. And I have it now at 50%. So this is before, and that's after.
Right.
After. That's a big deal, a big difference. So maybe I should have run it. So it's running now, it's running the denoise, and it'll show me a before and after of the denoise.
Could you, for this, would it be considered cheating, or would it be a good idea to, like, maybe,
Jeez, that's clean.
yeah, it's not bad
That's really
to
good.
could you do like a pano shot there and then blend that in, or does it just not match up with the star very well if you do that?
If you do what you're talking about, and you're not exactly perfect in your alignment. In this case here, let's go back to let's just take this new one, edit into Photoshop. Another way to go about this is select the sky. So Photoshop again, boy, why doesn't this hide? There's this at the top. Can't see. Can't see.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if there's a better way to get a cleaner shot of the foreground and then less distortion, and if you
Again,
could do a pano shot.
for what for what purpose? Yeah, if you're
It,
going to this is super darn clean.
mhm.
What are you going to get more of? The
I guess when
challenge
if you print it out, you're not gonna see any more clarity than that anyways.
no. And remember, it's dark, so you're darkening it up anyway. So I wouldn't worry about it too bad. I mean, you want to get it good. It didn't have to be perfect though. So why doesn't this hide at the top? Chat. You can't see it. Stop recording. Stop recording. Captions, reactions, disable annotations, hide names of annotators, show video panel, hide floating meeting controls. Haha, there we go. All right, so you can select the sky, and it's going to do its best of selecting the sky. And if I make a mask, it would make a mask of the bottom, which is the wrong way to go. I want the inverse. So select the sky, select inverse. So now I have a mask here. And then if I want, I can bring in my star trails and drop that underneath. And so I can then, I can move that. You're talking about, if the panos don't line up,
Right. Okay.
I can just drop the sky a little bit. So if it doesn't line up a little bit, it's just it's just seen behind there. So I can drop it to, and if I need to move it a little bit,
Yeah. And then, like you were saying, you don't want to do too much of that because you don't want to change the orientation of that
right. No, I don't
star.
want to move
Really.
the North Star is now over here. That's definitely not good. But you can, for artistic purposes, I could, make a little bit larger if I wanted to. If I wanted rule of thirds, I can bring that over, and now it's right there, pop right at the third level.
Mhm.
So you got options. And options when it comes to uh, editing is good. And again, this is this isn't a documentary that we're making. This is art. So I'm very pleased with what I've got here. It's accurate. You can see here on the, in terms of 24 hours, this little tiny thing would be full, but we never get to be 24 hours because there's only so much daytime or nighttime. All right, zoom. I don't know why my zoom now, I can't see my zoom. I hid the layers, but now they don't show back up. So I can't see it. I can't see my my layers, but you guys can still see me, right?
I can see your shared screen. Now you see you
Oh, good. Okay. So
and your
stop
screen's
sharing.
behind you.
There we go.
There it is.
All right. So that's all I got for you. I'm pleased with the results. I've got a beautiful star trail image. It's not perfect by any means, but it's pretty darn good. In order to take it to that next level, it would be several more hours to go through layer by layer, one at a time.
Right.
So can't wait to see your images. Post them on the blog if you can. If you worst case scenario, pop them over to me. I'd love to see it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thomas shared his image in the chat. Ah, love that. Nicely done, Thomas. Definitely a different perspective. He was using a much wider angle. Got some of that foreground in there. And that's a much wider shot. Nice. So make sure you look in the chat. That's all she wrote. I'll post this up on YouTube in the next day or two. I'll shoot it out for you. We also have we're starting to do a survey after each field trip, just kind of get feedback, see if this is something people want to do again, and we'll get that going. Have a good night, y'all.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.